Sponsored program paid for by Robin Gwaltney. Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. I'm Andy Brownell, and it's that time of the week when we chat with Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. So, hi, and good morning, Robin.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. I had a head cold for a few days, and of course, you know, these days when you get sick, you think, oh gosh, do I have COVID? And I felt like there's no way I should, because A, I've had my vaccinations, B, I've had my booster, and C, I hadn't been exposed to anybody, but you just feel like the responsible thing to do is get it checked out.
Yep.
So I did, and I do not have COVID, but I did have a head cold.
Yep.
The pharmacist, I went to get some of the Advil cold and sinus that you have to ask for behind the counter, and I said to the pharmacist, you know, you just panic these days when you get a cold, and he goes, I know. I tell people, guess what? People still get colds, people still get sinus infections, people are still going to get the flu, but anyway.
Yeah, so what is it? About 10% of the tests that are conducted come back positive. So 90% come back negative.
Right. So that's good. And the bottom line is, you know, of course, when you read about the whole new variant and then you hear it's in Minnesota and, oh, by the way, that guy was vaccinated. Oh, and he did have his booster. Then you're like, ugh.
But on the other hand, he also was fine.
Didn't get very sick. Yes,
right.
Exactly. Yeah, no. And that's what I said. Somebody said to me, oh, then why should I bother to get my booster? I'm like, well, he's probably not sick because he had all that vaccination on board. I mean, I'm no doctor, but I'm just guessing.
It's probably a pretty good guess.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Well, you know, that is funny because now, I mean, as long as I'm talking about that, I will tell you I have read articles now saying, will the new variant, how's it going to affect real estate?
Oh.
And is it going to threaten more disruption in the real estate market? Because here we go again with the unknown. So let me just read a little bit from this article. So the title is Omicron variant threatens more disruption in real estate, okay? And it says that the latest COVID variant has spawned new health and economic concerns. Oh boy, here we go. And it could have an impact on residential and commercial market. So one thing that I think from reading the article that they're thinking is this might cause another downdrive in interest rates.
Oh.
So if that happens, you know, let's take advantage of it, right? But again, I'm glad that the CDC is working on it. They know it's here. They're figuring out if we need a different shot. And hopefully it's not going to turn the real estate market upside down and not even hopefully have the same impact that COVID had initially.
You know, when you read the media articles, the newspaper articles, and the internet websites, and it's the headline news, because it's going to be the headline news. But
sure.
But when you're out and about talking to people, I don't think it's having that much of an impact on behavior.
I don't think so either. People aren't panicked. I mean, I feel like the more we know, the better we all feel, and the more we realize COVID's just a new thing. You know, like the flu's a thing, COVID's a thing, and we just have to know how to deal with it and, you know, take those precautions, and I guess that's it.
And I think, you know, this is just the latest in a string of variants where we're going to see. You know, I think every few months we're going to go, we got another variant.
Well, yeah, because as long as, you know, it's out there trying to mutate and fight against the vaccinations, that's what happens, right?
But what's also neat about this too, Robin, is you read the report that with the technology that they developed to fight the original coronavirus, they can shift this thing around and have a new vaccine for the variant in 3 months.
Yes, 100 days. I know, that's awesome. That is awesome. So I feel very safe, and I feel like COVID's not going to be the end of me by any means.
Okay.
I don't even think it's going to rock the boat too much. And if it does affect the rates to drop a little bit, I say, hey, take advantage of it, jump on it.
Yeah, more opportunity there. Okay, so speaking of, what's the real estate market looking like right now?
So it's still really good. I actually have the market report for November for Rochester, so I could talk a little bit about that. So we have 225 sales pending, meaning they're under contract and will come to close, chances are in the next 30 days. We have 171 active listings. Okay. And those active listings I can break down by price point. Under 100,000, there are 4. Between 100 and 200, there are 14. Between 200 and 300, there are 25. Between 300 and 400, there are 30. Between 400 and 500, there are 26. Between 500 and 600, there are 24, and then it goes really downhill after that.
Sure.
Between 600 and 700, there's 15, and above that, there's no more than 6 in a category. So one house between $1 million and $1.4 million. Wow, there's 3 houses between $1.1 million and $1.2 million. So anyway, 171 active houses out there. Interest rates are still great. 171 happy buyers in the next 30 days.
So that number is actually down from October, if my memory is right, correct?
Yeah, it is. It is. You're absolutely right. So, it's because people are, they realize, okay, yes, there are still multiple offers out there. I might still be one of 3, one of 4, one of 5. But that's still better than one of 15 or one of 16. My chances are better. And there are even buyers that are getting it just without having to fight for it, just paying full price or a little over and still getting the house. So, the market is still very, very good. So don't get me wrong. There's no gloom. There's no doom. No. It's all fantastic. It is a really, really good real estate market.
And if you're in that sweet spot price-wise, I'm eyewitness to what happens.
Yes.
It's a feeding frenzy if you're right in that right zone.
Absolutely. And especially when you come across a house that someone has maintained and taken, good care of, it's still really, really hot market. And you get it in a desirable neighborhood where people know that the neighborhood is great. They know the neighbors are great. They are familiar with the place. All those factors play in. They all play a part.
And so in those cases, you are really seeing the multiple offers flow in.
Yeah, we sure are.
And that is, from what I'm gathering from the numbers you just mentioned, it's anywhere from 200 to 500,000 is kind of the hot territory now. Well,
and isn't that funny? Yeah, but isn't that funny how it used to be like 150 to 250, and then it kind of creeped up to 200 to 300. Now it's like all the way up to 600,000. There's 25 houses available. Well, between 500,000 and 600,000.
I'll just say it. I have a close family member who's in the market, as you know. And so I'm getting some firsthand knowledge of just how much this low interest rate can buy.
Isn't it crazy?
It is.
It's so awesome. It is so awesome. It makes me so excited for these young kids just starting out. And it's so fun to know that they can lock in at these great rates and get all this buying power and have this beautiful home at a very affordable price. It's exciting to me.
It is. I can see why you really enjoy that aspect of the job. Mm-hmm. When closing day comes, I bet it's like a big party.
It is. It's such a celebration. It's just such a victory, especially if you know that they got just exactly what they wanted. Sometimes, and I won't mention names, but your particular family member was so bummed out about one house that came and was already sold, and he was just sure that he missed out on the best house he could have had. And then what came? Something better, and he was so ecstatic. So it's just the way it goes.
How many times have you had that story play out?
I tell you, I say, believe me, trust me when I tell you it wasn't meant to be. The next one is even going to be a better fit. And he's like, by golly, you knew what you were talking about.
I guess you did, yes. It's kind of funny to counsel this family member and say, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
this is what's happening here. We talk about this every Saturday, and now I'm living through it. So,
and you should have said, and I'm your father, and I'm practically a real estate pro.
Yeah, but you know how that goes. Anything comes out of my mouth is not believable, but when you say it, it's
different story.
It's the absolute truth.
Well, I'll give you credibility because I think you know darn well what you're talking about.
All right, so let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and chat some more with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back, everyone. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results with us, of course, this morning. We've had a kind of the luxury of warm weather for putting up our holiday decorations this year, Robin.
Hasn't it been crazy? No snow, no ice, 40s, 50s. Yeah, love it. Yeah.
I've seen some pretty elaborate displays where I hadn't previously seen them, that people are taking advantage of this, I think, and boosting up their handiwork.
Guilty. We do the same.
Yeah.
If there's nicer weather to be outside, we say, oh, let's add a little here, let's add a little there. But I do have some good advice. If you've already got your lights up, well, hopefully you've done this. But if you don't have them up, take that opportunity to look around and kind of perform your own little mini home inspection while you're there. Okay, so if you're up on a ladder, it gives you a chance to take a look at the roof. You have a chance to look at the gutters. If there's stuff on top of your gutters, your leaf screens, you could get it off. Or if your gutters haven't been cleaned out, you can get those cleaned out, because those things are so important. And it's not fun stuff to do, so it's really easy to just say, not today. But if you're already out and about, it's perfect. You can check your outside plug-ins. Sometimes now is when we use them. We plug in the Christmas lights, and sometimes you'll find one that's not working. Well, could be because you didn't have the plastic cover over it, so the water and the ice and stuff have gotten in it. So perfect time to get that taken care of, not only because you need it for your Christmas lights, but because now you're aware of it. And so instead of putting it off, just get somebody over there to change it out.
And if you're looking at those windows, you can check the caulking.
Check the caulking. If your shrubs are overgrown, also it's a great time for mice to start to want to get close to the house because it's cold out, and so it's a good time to look for pests. So I said, I know it kind of takes the fun out of decorating, but it does give you a good opportunity to take a really good look at the things that you don't look at every day. So just really examine what you can when you're out and about outside the house and up on the ladder.
And close to the action. Otherwise, get a really good binoculars, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, the houses are looking really pretty. And I'll have to admit, though, that they probably do need a little bit of a white snow cover to kind of finish off the effect.
Yes, so December 24th would be perfect for that. We can do a few more weeks. I'll tell you, I was out shopping yesterday. I filled the back end of my Escalade with stuff for Toys for Tots. And I did it because I think it's a great cause, and because I'm very blessed to be very successful in my business, and I think it's my duty to give back. But because the weather's so nice that it puts you in the mood to shop, and it's not a big problem to unload it and put it in the back of the car and go to the next place and load it, and it felt so good. So now I have to get it delivered.
Well, that's fantastic, and you're right. It makes the whole experience of being outdoors doing those things a lot more pleasant when we have this Indiana weather in Minnesota in December.
At our Wabasha office today, this evening, we have our Christmas tree lighting. Oh. And so, we try to build on that each year to make it more and more like the Hallmark movie scene, right? So we, the Gwaltney Group, are doing cocoa and cider and cookies and coffee in our little community room. And then I know the chamber has lined up the high school band to come down and play some music. And the mayor will speak a little bit and then light the tree. And so hopefully it'll bring the people of the community. And the weather helps, because I think people are more apt to say, oh, what the heck, I might as well mosey on down there.
So is this thing getting to be like the Rockefeller Center
Oh, yeah,
street?
Exactly. Yeah, no, not quite. Not quite. It has to fit under the bridge because it's in the Heritage Park under the bridge. Okay. So I think the tree's about 12 feet tall or 10 feet. I mean, it's nice. It's all good. It's just about the sense of community. And, that's really what the holidays is, isn't it?
Right.
And I love it when the neighbors get together, and I love, like, back in the old days when everybody would do the progressive dinner and start at one house and move on to the next. And, I love that kind of stuff. I think that is so much fun. Yeah,
getting to not only just know the people living around you, to become friends with them.
Exactly. And I think that, that's such a big important part of the home ownership is just the lifestyle that it gives you, right? And that's being a part of that community. So I think, holidays a good time to really reflect on that, for sure.
And it's funny, even on the money side of it, I've counseled some younger people I've worked with over the years who are making that jump to home ownership, and they were talking about their monthly budgets, not in specifics, but I said, it's going to work out, because what you don't realize is once you're in that house, you're going to spend more time in that house. You're not going to feel the need to go out to the night spots and pay expensive prices for the drinks. You're going to end up having social connections really close to you, and you prefer being at the homestead rather than parking someplace else in the city and spending a ton of money almost every night of the weekend. So
yeah,
and it usually works out.
Yeah, it does. And isn't it funny how that just transpires? I actually was at getting I had a low tire, and I thought maybe I had a nail in it, and I was listening to these young guys talk, and they were all in their 20s, and they were talking about how old their grandparents were. And the one guy says, as I'm standing there, one guy says, I never want to get old. I never want to live past 65. And I wanted to say to him, honey, 65 is far from old. But they all grow up, they get it eventually.
Oh, we had a group of us get together, old coworkers, and the same kind of story. We were talking about something that happened over 30 years ago at the radio station, and we were trying to remember the name of that old guy that was tied to this event that happened. And I looked around the room and I said, do you realize that right now we're older than that person was when this happened?
Yeah, it's so sad. Oh my goodness. All right, so back to real estate.
Okay.
I do want to tell you that any home buyers that are out there listening and are eager to, still get in on this and still buy, I'm going to say do it sooner rather than later, because honestly, the contract signings have climbed yet another 7.5% last month, and we are on track to have the most home sales in 2021 than we've had in 15 years.
Wow.
Okay. So yeah, it is a hot year. And of course, with all those contracts, that increases the confidence, the consumer confidence in the economy, and the interest rates. And so, it's not going to last forever. It can't last forever. But right now, a 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaged 3.10 last week. And 1 year ago, it was at 2.72. So, 3.10 is still really, really good. But if it keeps inching up, then eventually you could say, darn it, now they're back up to 5% and I could have bought when they were 3. So I say there's no time like the present, and it's definitely not too late. Inventory is not exactly bursting at the seams, but as I mentioned earlier, there are homes out there to be had.
All right, we do have to take another break. We'll come back with more. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results in just a moment on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
So you hear about it.
Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results with us this morning on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. And Robin, as you know, a home very close to my house was put on the market a week ago. I could not believe the amount of traffic that house generated in our little cul-de-sac. It was crazy. It would be 30, 40 cars a day. People coming up to take a glance at the property. And I don't know how many viewings they had. It was incredible.
And were you also impressed by the fact that within a day there were 5 offers?
Right.
And were you also impressed by the price? I mean,
Yeah.
would you have thought 10 years ago that the houses in your cul-de-sac were going to be selling for that price?
No way.
Yeah, exactly. So do you realize, and I know I talked about this after I came back from Arizona a few weeks ago, that in Scottsdale, homes in 1 year went up by 30%. But honestly, some of the hottest housing markets across the U.S. did climb by 30% year over year. And the median home list price now, steady for over the past 4 months nationwide, has climbed to $380,000.
Wow.
Isn't that something? And the number of homes with price cuts, very, very few. Okay, people are not having to lower and I think in Rochester there were some in the beginning because people were still really pie in the sky about getting these crazy prices. But I tell people, let's price it where it should sell. And the market's still hot enough that if we get people fighting for it, you're going to get more than its
right
market value, right? So that's the smart way to do it. So anyway, we're seeing houses still selling for what they, prices and sellers reached for the moon this year, right? And I think that people are still getting very, very good prices for their homes.
Okay, so this is that time of the year where I guess normally it gets kind of quiet, and it doesn't seem like it's quiet at all.
There is nothing quiet about it. And I think, a lot of that has to do with the weather. We talked about how nice it's been, right? And then the interest rates are still great, and the inventory is still, not hugely abundant. So people want to race out there as soon as something hits the market. So I think it all makes for a perfect recipe for a good, strong housing market. And people are kind of putting aside the fact that it's 3 weeks till Christmas, and they're saying, you know what? On my shopping list, top of my list is get a house before the end of this year.
Wow.
So they're still out there shopping.
Are you anticipating it'll ramp up even more after we get past the holidays?
I'm guessing we'll see. I'm predicting, so we'll see if I'm right or not. I'm predicting that week of Christmas, so like literally 22nd, 23rd, through like the 3rd of January, we'll see a little bit of a lull because we always do. People are doing Christmas. They're traveling. They're all of that. And then I think if we have super cold weather those first couple weeks of January, it could stay a little bit on the quiet side. But I have a feeling that by 3rd week in January, we'll be full swing into our spring market. So that will definitely be ahead of schedule.
The days will be getting longer by then as well.
Yes, thank goodness.
And that's a month or more earlier than what used to be the norm, right?
Correct. Well, gosh, there were days when the spring market really was the end of March or the beginning of March, for the residents coming, right, for match day. But then it moved up to like middle of February. But no, I think we'll have a spring market. Last year we had a spring market all January. And I don't think it's going to be much different this year.
Okay, so if you're a potential seller out there right now, how does your mind work through all this with the news about interest rates? Do I just go right now and not wait? Because definitely call me. So every situation is going to be a little different. It's never just one answer because it depends on where's that seller moving? What is their timeline? What is their urgency? What are the driving factors? Some sellers are calling me saying, I need to be out of this house, moved, gone as fast as possible. Well, then let's put it on the market today. Other people are saying, I've got a house full of company over the holidays. I don't even want to think about this. Okay, let's talk middle of January. So, every situation is going to be different. But as far as the market is concerned, now is just as good as any time. That's fantastic. For people both selling and buying, that you have this kind of activity at this time. Things are churning, as they say.
Yes, it's a very good market, and I love it. And what else I think was fun is that people were starting to leave the cities, right, and head out to the suburbs. And we saw this across the nation because of COVID. They could work from home, so they're like, well, geez, I don't have to worry about traveling to work and having to live in the city. And I'm not talking about Rochester, clearly, but, big metro areas. And now what we're seeing is that even though the suburbs are remaining really popular and people are still picking up those homes, and buying them as soon as they hit the market, people are starting to come back into the cities as well. So, it's just because there's more sellers more buyers out in the market. So there's a little something for everybody.
And I suppose that some people, I imagine that they made the move to wherever it was, and everybody's different. Maybe it wasn't what they expected either.
Correct. Correct.
Actually, I know somebody who did that personally.
Really?
They thought that all that solitude would be really good for them, and I think it was for a while, but then,
Well, I think you remember me telling you during the height of COVID, I had a buyer move here from New York City. Okay, do you remember that?
I do, yeah.
And he moved to Byron because when I asked him what he was looking for, he told me the most important thing was a view of the sky. Okay? He wanted a view of the sky. He got the most beautiful view of the sun setting every evening. He was in heaven. Well, guess what? He just called me and he's ready to move to the Twin Cities because he needs a little more action than what there is in Byron.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
But he loves Minnesota. He loves Minnesota and he wants to stay here, but he's thinking more Twin Cities.
Oh, that's good. I can see this guy almost anywhere in the Twin Cities as well.
Absolutely. I think he's probably figured that out. He's probably spent enough time up there to figure that out. Like, okay, I don't have to live in, quite as rural.
Yeah. As quiet as Rochester can be, Byron is even quieter.
Yes. And, quiet is good.
Quiet is
good. Reed's Landing's even more quiet.
Oh, yeah. But, something about that river running by you. It makes it a little more magical place. But
for sure.
Even this time of the year with the lights everywhere in the city, it's looking pretty in Rochester as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else quickly you want to mention? Because we're kind of nearing the end of the program, Robin.
Well, I guess I would just say what I like to say every week, and that is if you have any questions about real estate, whether you're wondering the value of your home or the perfect time to put it on the market if you want to be out by the end of March. Or, sometimes people have very specific questions, but never hesitate to call me and ask me any question you have. There's never any commitment to me. There's never any charge for me to come out and give you an evaluation of your home. I want to help you any way that I can. So whether you have questions about selling or you'd like to dive into the process of buying, me and my entire team, the Gwaltney Group, are here for you. This year we will sell more than a house a day. In 2021 we will surpass 365 houses. So we sell a lot of houses. We're very good at what we do, and we really put our customers' priorities at the top of the list. So we like to create a customer experience like no other, and if we can help you in any way with any of your real estate needs, please give us a call. You can call my cell phone anytime. I've always got it on, and that number is 507-259-4926.
Fantastic. Thanks again, Robin.
Yeah, thank you, Andy.
We'll talk to you again next Saturday here on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results.